I have worked a lot on Brownian motion, which describes the random motion of a particle subject to continual changes of direction. And then I have introduced several important mathematical objects closely related to the Brownian motion, in particular the Brownian snake, which was initially motivated by connections between probability theory and partial differential equations. This Brownian snake has turned out to be an important object to understand models from combinatorics, such as random trees and random graphs. In the last 15 years, I've worked a lot on the Brownian sphere, which is a model of random geometry motivated by physics. And it seems that my work in this area has motivated many other studies by different mathematicians, and in this sense has opened new perspectives of research. Okay, so my research is concerned with probability theory, and more especially I've been interested in understanding large combinatorial objects. To understand this, you can think of Brownian motion. Brownian motion can be viewed as a kind of limit of displacement of a particle in the plane, which at each time step will move in one of the four possible directions at random. And if you look at the trajectory of this particle over a large number of steps, this will resemble Brownian motion. And in a similar way, the model of random geometry which I have introduced is motivated by the behavior of large random graphs. Okay. So many of these models have been motivated by physics. In fact, Brownian motion was first discussed by physicists. In particular, there is a famous paper of Einstein about Brownian motion. And these models of random geometry I was mentioning are motivated by the theory called quantum gravity. For the moment, the mathematical approach is limited to 2 dimensions, which is not so interesting for physicists, but one can hope that in the future, higher dimensions can be treated. So perhaps my favorite result is the definition and the proof of existence and uniqueness of the model called the Brownian sphere. So to understand what the Brownian sphere is, you can imagine that you start from a large number of small triangles, which you are going to glue together in a random manner to form a surface which has, roughly speaking, the shape of a sphere, but which is very irregular. Okay? If you take really a very large number of such triangles, but you take them smaller and smaller, then the object that you get will be close to the Brownian sphere. Okay? So my contribution has been to show that this object is uniquely defined and that it is universal in the sense that you can replace triangles by squares, by pentagons, by hexagons. In some sense, you always get the same limiting object, the same Brownian sphere. I hope to have introduced the mathematical objects that will remain important in the future and that will continue to motivate researchers and to produce new results. I've tried always to work on basic mathematical objects, like I think the Brownian snake or the Brownian sphere. These objects are sometimes difficult to study or to define in the case of the Brownian sphere, but in some sense they are basic, meaning that you can explain them even to a non-specialist who will understand the reason for introducing these objects. Okay. So I'm confident that my work on these subjects will have still some impact, some influence in the work of specialists of probability theory even in 50 years. This may be maybe not modest, but this is what I think. I think that mathematics is a language in which you can develop and understand science in general. There is a famous quote of the physicist Wigner who spoke about the unreasonable effectiveness of mathematics in natural sciences. And he also said that it is a miracle if mathematics are so efficient to formulate the laws of physics. Okay. And so modern physics use a lot of advanced mathematics. This is also true for other areas of science. Maybe it is a little bit less true in biology, but I'm convinced that mathematics will play a more and more important role in these areas too. Mathematics are also everywhere present in real life. To give just one example, the GPS, the Global Positioning System, is based on advanced mathematical analysis. So, independently of applications, I think it's very important to support theoretical research in mathematics, okay? Because even if some mathematics already appear to have absolutely no applications, such applications may come later, okay? And there is a very good example about that, which is the notion of non-Euclidean geometry, which was introduced in the 19th century as a purely mathematical concept, and it turned out to be very important in the development of the theory of relativity. Okay? And for all these reasons, I think it's really fundamental to support research in mathematics.